major move pending. Miners may be dumping BTC, but ETF inflows have been strong, and a European government minister just called Bitcoin the future of finance. Trump's tariff turmoil. The Supreme Court is weighing up whether to cancel the import tariffs slapped on a whole load of nations last year. What might happen, and what would the outcome mean for the markets? Zcash civil war. One of last year's best performing crypto projects just saw its dev team resign en masse as the crypto space sees its first major drama of the year. And we'll have Lewis with the TA, the winner of our portfolio competition, tweets of the week, and much more besides. This is the Coin Bureau News, live. Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Coin Bureau Live News Show. It is great to see you all. My name is Guy and I am joined as Lewis.
Yes.
Nice to see you, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm filling in for Nick right now. I figured we could make it a family affair, as one of the comments has eloquently pointed out, with Guy and Guy Jr. over here.
Yes, a few people have mentioned that Lewis looks like my son. So we're making this a family affair, father and son. Here we go. Yes, as you can see, Lewis is making his live debut on the show today. Now, I sadly have to report to you folks that poor Nick is not well today. I hope he won't mind me sharing, but he had some dodgy shellfish over the weekend and is the sick man of Dubai at the moment. I think we actually have some live footage of him in bed. Yes, there we are, surrounded by the scene of the crime. Yes, poor old Nick is not feeling very well. So you will just have to make do with myself and Lewis, I'm afraid. We will do our best to shepherd you through in Nick's absence. But before we get stuck in, can I please implore you all to smash that like button for Nick, folks? For Nick. I'm not going to promise you some portfolio alpha or anything like that. All I'm going to say is if that like status bar below Lewis doesn't get to 100%, then poor old Nick isn't going to recover in time for next week's stream. So hammer those likes for Nick, please.
100%.
Yeah, poor old Nick.
We need 100,000
exactly.
likes.
We need 100,000 likes for Nick. Have you ever had food poisoning, Lewis?
Yes, a long time ago.
It is not pleasant, is it?
Not at all.
Okay.
Wishing him the best.
And of course, you guys can all drop a comment as well. Maybe, I'm sure Nick, if he's not, he might not be watching this live because I think he really is under the weather, but he'll probably watch it on catch up, and I'm sure he would appreciate some supportive comments in down below. He's not hungover. I can tell you that much. I can tell you, Nick does not do hangovers. Please do leave a supportive message for Nick and pound that like button so as he recovers and is back for next week's stream. So, Lewis, you and I are just going to have to soldier on through.
Yep. Well, you're the expert out here, and this is my first time, so I'll let you lead, and I'll just chime in.
Okay, cool. Well, let's take a look then. We'll go back to last week's price action for Bitcoin. So if we go back to last Monday, before Nick even considered eating a dodgy oyster, we remember that Michael Saylor went ahead and made his first Bitcoin purchase of the year, just over 1,000 BTC. He added there to Strategy's increasingly swelling pile.
Yep.
We also had some strong ETF flows, right?
Yeah, in the beginning of the week, or the beginning of the year, very strong, and we saw that in the price. Crypto is looking pretty good in the beginning of 2026. Pretty good.
Yes, Bitcoin actually went up to 94K. Now, Lewis, I have to ask you, were you starting to believe at 94K?
I was not. A couple friends were, couple acquaintances, people who reached out to me, and I told them, guys, I don't think you should jump on it quite yet.
Okay.
I feel like you should wait just a little bit longer.
So they'll be thanking you for that.
Eventually, maybe. Who knows?
Okay. Yes, 94K was tested, but as we'll soon see, it didn't last. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, we had Luxembourg's finance minister making some bullish comments about Bitcoin.
Yeah, pretty good. It didn't work out too well with America's government, basically promoting crypto and saying it's going to be the best thing in the world and the new financial instrument. Yeah. But maybe Luxembourg's, maybe that'll turn things around and we'll have a different scenario and things will just be up from here.
Exactly. Maybe this is the Luxembourg put we're entering now. Meanwhile, our old favorite Tom Lee was back out again, wheeled out onto, I think this was CNBC, calling for a $250,000 Bitcoin. I can't remember what exactly his for 2026. Okay, so Tom Lee is bullish as ever. And Saylor himself actually caught a bit of a break here. Now, this was some good news, which we should talk about a little bit, because as you may recall, MSCI was weighing up the possibility of removing not only strategy, but digital asset treasury companies in general.
Yes, very scary.
Yeah, from its indices. And what this would have meant, if MSCI had removed strategy, then all these passive funds that buy any indices that strategy had featured in would automatically sell. Now, this would not have been nice.
That would have absolutely destroyed the entire market.
Yeah.
So this is very good news, actually.
We got a bit of a reprieve on Tuesday, which I don't we probably weren't grateful enough for. We really got let off the hook a little bit, I think.
Yeah. I mean, this would have damaged the markets incredibly. I was very worried about it after I did the video, and I'm very happy to see that this decision is what happened.
Things to be thankful for. Bitcoin didn't seem to get the memo, though. It fell back below 92K. It didn't care. Honey Badger didn't care. And then fell below 91K.
Yeah, it just keeps on falling for some reason.
Yeah, this is despite progress being made on the Clarity Act as well. Now, we're going to talk about this in a little more detail a little later on. But the Clarity Act, this big market structure bill that is making its way through Congress. And as you'll soon see, the time is maybe a little bit against it, but we'll get to that. Miners are also dumping Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, they're dumping, and because they're dumping, the mining difficulty of Bitcoin is falling as well.
Yeah. So, historically, when Bitcoin mining difficulty falls, it tends to fall along with price as well. The two are pretty closely correlated. Now, this is a result of, because Bitcoin's price has been falling, a lot of miners are being squeezed out, so they are switching off their machines, powering down their ASICs, which means fewer miners on the network, which means the difficulty goes down in order to incentivize more miners to then join.
That is the beauty of the mathematics of Bitcoin.
Yeah, one of the really clever ways in which the whole network is structured. But yes, at the moment, difficulty is falling along with price as well. It's basically, it's not a good time to be a miner. So as you saw from that headline there, I think that was Riot Platforms selling a fair bit then. Now, we flagged this up last week as well. We had quite a lot of employment data that we were looking at. We had some employment numbers come in below expectations.
Yeah, they added a lot, 41,000, but not as much as what people wanted or expected.
Yeah.
And we saw that a little bit reflected in the price dumping below, 92 and then 91 and then 90.
Yeah, this was on Thursday. Now, Lewis, as you're sitting in that chair, you have to point out something that got closed because of this. Because of this fall.
Yeah. I wish I had some weights to lift to get a good pump in.
Do you want to try it in your best South African accent?
My South African accent. Close the gap, as per usual. And it was okay. I'm not even gonna bother with that anymore. I thought I had it, but guess not. So. We close the gap. Close the gap. Why do I feel like that could be a meme? Is that a meme?
Yeah, it should be.
It's like over the line.
Over the line.
But like close the gap.
Get in the hole. We did close that CME gap right there, but as you can see, there's another one below it at around 88K. Yeah. So we might still go lower to close that CME gap there. Nick, I think, is probably just
they do tend to close. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. All right, I'm good.
Godson, they do tend to close them CME gaps, don't they? Shucks.
What am I doing? Okay. Friday.
Yes, Friday. Friday, we had NFP, non-farm payroll numbers, come in slightly below expectations, actually. The market still dumped.
Yeah. What a surprise.
Yeah. Yeah. It just did not. Crypto does not seem to be able to catch a bid at the moment, and that took us into the weekend.
Then on the weekend, you know, in the beginning of the year, like we talked about, we saw some nice inflows with the ETFs, but apparently that just didn't want to last, because now we had 4 straight days of outflows on the Bitcoin ETF. ETH is on its 3rd day, so not quite as bad as Bitcoin, but it's still pretty telling that a lot of people and a lot of institutions are moving out of Bitcoin still right now.
Yeah. So yes, outflows, as Lewis said, outflows for Bitcoin and ETH as well. Now we have to talk. We didn't mention this at the top of the show, but there's been a sort of a drama going on over the last few hours involving this man, one of crypto's reluctant main characters, I think you can say. Obviously, Jerome Powell, chair of the Federal Reserve. So the TLDR here is that basically he released this video, I think it was yesterday, basically sort of pushing back against the fact that prosecutors have launched a criminal investigation into him regarding the renovation of the Fed's headquarters.
Yeah, pretty wild. I'm not sure if that's ever happened before.
Yeah.
You know, they say that, well, he said that the threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president. So they're saying, like, okay, the president doesn't like what he's doing, so he's, you know, putting charges against him. And some people do like what he's doing, but a lot of people actually don't.
Yeah.
But in the end, the markets, well, not crypto, but the general markets are still going up. So it seems like Powell is able to do what he wants to do, and the markets are still going up, which should make Trump happy. But, you know, I guess Trump's not happy enough because they're not high up.
He is not happy enough. Yeah, this is a kind of extraordinary thing we're seeing here at the moment, because this is calling into question the independence of the Federal Reserve. And as Lewis said, you know, quoting that thing that Powell said, you know, he's basically saying that these charges are being implemented because he and presumably the rest of the FOMC, but I think this is very much directed at Powell himself, are basically not doing what Trump wants. They are not lowering interest rates as quickly and as low as Trump would like. And as such, you know, this is why these criminal charges are being pressed. It's not, you know, as far as Powell is concerned, this has got nothing to do with the renovation of the Fed HQ. It is a kind of extraordinary moment. And, you know, obviously there's quite a lot of sort of general chaos going on around Trump and what the US is doing at the moment. And this is just another piece of that puzzle. But it is really big news because, as we say, this calls into question Fed independence. Yeah. And as a result, actually, Lewis mentioned it, pumping the markets. This uncertainty, because this is what it is, really, this is uncertainty that is being introduced here. This has been great for the gold bugs and also for silver as well. Both gold and silver have hit new all-time highs. Lately. So we are in a very, very interesting period, folks, not only geopolitically, but also what is going on with the Fed. And I think and Jerome Powell, and I think this is going to be a big story of this week. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on that, and we'll have more to bring you on that next week. But watch this one carefully. It's going to be interesting. Now, Lewis, if you are looking for an exchange, if you're feeling bullish on Bitcoin, or maybe you're feeling bearish on Bitcoin and want to sell some, and you want a top international exchange to trade it on, then you have to check out 2bit. All right? You got that? 2bit.
Well, tell me more.
I certainly will, Lewis. 2bit is an international exchange. They have a wonderful, solid interface. They have deep liquidity, competitive fees. Onboarding, Lewis, is super simple. You just need an email address.
That's it?
Yeah. You just take your email address and you can sign up. You can explore the platform right away. And Coin Bureau viewers are eligible for up to $90,000 worth of trading rewards alongside, Lewis, lifetime VIP level 1 upgrade and 50% off trading fees for life.
Lifetime VIP level 1 upgrade. Wow. I'm going to sign up right now.
Get in there. So you can scan the QR code to get that deal, or you can use the link in the description if you're one of those people. But whatever you do, yes, do check out 2bit, and we are delighted to have them as a brand partner. Okay, Lewis, I'm going to give you an idea of the sentiment in the chat.
Please do.
It is kind of Nick based.
I would think so.
Good day, everyone. Looks like Nick has had a little pullback today on the daily. Nevertheless, it surely lead to a weekly consolidation, and eventually Nick will be back with us soon. Inshallah. We hope Nick will be back with us soon. I wouldn't say Nick is necessarily feeling bearish. I'd say he's feeling a lot worse than that. Yes, poor old Nick. So yes, lovely to see all your messages of support for Nick as well. Also, messages of support for Jerome Powell. Powell is a honey badger. He don't give two poops. Good for Powell. This is going to be.
He really doesn't.
He really doesn't. I mean, he's getting on a bit, isn't he? He's proved himself.
Yeah.
I bet he's just like, what? Bring it on. I don't care. I'm too goddamn old.
Pretty much.
Nick looks a little different today. Do you think?
I lost some weight.
He did lose some weight. He lost some muscle mass.
Lost some hair.
Had a bit of a trim, but otherwise he's the same Nick that we know and love. Okay, all right. Let's move on. And we touched on the idea of tariffs, right?
Yeah, we touched on, and we talked about it on our new Friday show, the FUD and FOMO show, which, by the way, if you're watching this right now and you don't know about it, it's a new show. You should check it out every Friday. It's really great. Yeah. It's more laid back than this. And we've talked about a lot of different things, including the tariff decision, which should have happened on Friday, or we were expecting it. But then it didn't.
It was a big old nothing burger. Here we are. We were all keyed up. We were watching things coming out of the Supreme Court, and then they postponed it till the 14th, which is Wednesday.
Yeah, or I actually read the article, and it said that they expect it to be on the 14th. So, maybe the 14th, maybe the 15th,
maybe the 31st, or whatever.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. So if you're not up to speed with this, folks, this is kind of important at the moment. You will all remember Trump's tariffs from last year and all the chaos and confusion that they caused. Well, you thought they might have gone away, but no, they are back because the legitimacy of the tariffs has been challenged, and this has gone all the way to the Supreme Court. And the court we're basically waiting on the court's ruling on whether these tariffs were legal or not. And if prediction markets are your thing, then right now the odds that they will rule in Trump's favor is pretty low.
31%.
Yeah. Now, we should explain what exactly the possible outcomes are here, because this is not a binary outcome. This is not one thing or another. There are a few different options. But let's quickly look at the two extremes. So on the one hand, the Supreme Court, they could kind of say what Trump is basically hoping they're going to say, and that all the tariffs are legal, and that Trump can just go ahead instituting them, carry on, Mr. President. So that is one possible outcome. What's the other kind of extreme outcome, Lewis?
Well, I would have to think that they would say that they're all illegal. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then they would just order the Treasury to pay back, everything that has been paid. And that seems a little extreme to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it is one of the extremes.
Yeah. So these are the extreme options. Either they say you're all good, carry on, or they say, no, these are bad and you've got to pay them back. Now, quite a lot of money, as we'll see in a moment, has been collected via these tariffs. But as I said, it's not just a binary one. There are a couple of middle-of-the-road options as well. And the first is that that the court could rule that the tariffs can be used under International Emergency Economic Powers Act. So that's the IEEPA, as I'm sure you know, Lewis. I'm talking to the converted here. But only for narrow national security threats and not for general trade deficits. So this could mean that certain tariffs would be struck down, like the global tariffs, the ones leveled on particular countries. But specific ones like the fentanyl-related ones could be left intact. So that's one kind of middle-of-the-road option. There's another middle-of-the-road option as well, right?
Yes. The other middle of the road is to say that they are illegal, but they're starting to be illegal from today or whenever the decision is finalized. And if they do that, then the government won't have to pay back the $150 billion that, they collected. Yeah. So that's more of a middle ground.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, as Lewis says, $150 billion have been collected through these tariffs so far. And there is a possibility that the Supreme Court will say the government has to pay all that back.
What do you think the market's gonna react to that?
Well, I think it's going to be fairly interesting. I think equities are going to react pretty well, because if you consider companies like Costco, Walmart, Target, these big importers, there they are, on their away day to Washington. They have been eating these enormously, much higher import costs and either passing them on to consumers or concealing them in their balance sheet. But these guys, if the tariffs were in fact struck down, would see a massive boost in their margins, and you would imagine that their share prices would rocket.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much anything that relies on the global supply chains could probably benefit or would benefit from reduced friction, reduced cost of the tariffs if they're no longer there.
Yeah.
So a lot of different things, a lot of different companies would end up going up. All of those, Costco, Walmart, Target, even Apple, Nvidia, pretty much everything, to be honest.
Anything, as Lewis says, anything that's kind of been, relies on global supply chains, especially to and from China, etc. So, I think certainly for equity markets, the tariffs being struck down would probably signal good news. It wouldn't be good news for the government, obviously having to repay that money, but also from the point of view of bond yields. Now, you would imagine that a country that is, I think, somewhere in the region of $38 trillion in debt doesn't really want to see a spike in bond yields, but that is probably what they would get if these tariffs were struck down. To say nothing of just sort of general questions about US fiscal sustainability and how these refunds might go, because I don't imagine this would be a particularly easy process.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah. And of course, what we can almost be certain of is that if the Supreme Court does rule against Trump and say that, these tariffs are illegal and have to be repaid or something that Trump doesn't like, then you can imagine there will be an appeal, and this will probably rumble on. Safe havens such as gold and silver, which, as we pointed out earlier, have been doing pretty well recently, they might see a bit of a correction if the tariffs go down and sort of this whole kind of global trade war tension cools. So that might be a bit of a headwind for the likes of gold and silver. But what about crypto? Lewis?
Yeah,
this is what people want to know.
Yeah,
how will crypto react?
Well, it's like what happened when we got some good news. What happened in the crypto space? Basically we went down. And then what happened when we got some bad news? Well, basically we went down again. So I would have to think that whether anything happens, we're going to end up going down.
Okay, I must say I kind of agree on this because, if it's bad news, then crypto could well sell off, especially if this news comes outside of regular market hours. Then obviously crypto trades 24/7. It's often the first thing to get sold. We've seen this happen many times before. Yeah. I also think that,
if it's good news, then a lot of people, they've already been doing this, could switch from crypto to like these companies in the stock market that have that actual reasoning to go up also. So that could also hurt crypto in that regard.
Yeah. I must say, I hope we're wrong on this one, but I kind of think this tariffs news is probably something crypto wants to forget as soon as possible.
Well, it feels like it's been like a year. I know it's been a little bit less than a year, but it feels like it's been so long that I don't know. I think a lot of people are already sort of over it, and they're not paying as much attention to it anyway. So maybe it's not going to affect it as much.
That's strange, isn't it? Because there's really nothing else happening in the world at the moment that might be distracting people's attention from things like boring old tariffs and stuff like that. It's not like there's any geopolitical chaos going on or anything that we should probably be paying attention to. These tariffs I think are just going to be the gift that keeps on giving, a bit like malaria. Okay, so now, if you're feeling anxious about these tariffs and the state of the market, then you could do a lot worse than just hodling your crypto and waiting for all of this to blow over. And if that is what you are planning to do, then there is no better wallet to use than Tangem. Now, Tangem combines the safety of a hardware device with the convenience of a web wallet as well. They are absurdly easy to set up and use, wonderful little devices, and you can get a 10% discount if you scan the QR code, Lewis.
Oh, well, you know what? I know what else. I know what QR code I'm about to scan.
Yeah. Don't waste time talking to me.
Sorry, I gotta go.
I've got some QR codes to scan. Yes, scan the QR code for that discount, or the link in the description if you insist. Okay. Now, Lewis, there was another slight drama last week in the cryptoverse.
Yeah, and this one was actually pretty interesting to me, especially considering, I had some positions in here, and I think Nick did as well. And we're talking about Zcash.
Okay.
And the Zcash crash. Apparently, the team resigned, or a lot of the team resigned. And the story goes, CEO Josh Swihart announced on January 7th that the entire electric coin company, ECC, team resigned following a constructive discharge by the Bootstrap board.
Yeah. So a little bit of context here in case you're not up to date with this. Electric Coin Company, ECC, is the entity that, sort of develops Zcash. It was the entity that employed Zcash's developers. And Bootstrap is a kind of non-profit entity that was sort of attached to Electric Coin Company, and sort of oversaw network support and what have you. So there was a disagreement between Bootstrap and Zcash's developers.
It's funny how that happened now after, like late last year, the price went up so much. And there were all of these really, really big people talking about it and like getting involved and buying. And I'm sure they had some, influence and wanted to take it into a certain direction.
Yeah.
And I read one of Josh's tweets, and he was saying how he really wanted to just stay with the original, like, ethos of Zcash and privacy. And so I commend him, for doing that, because I'm sure there was some deals where he could have got godly amounts of money. Yeah. And he decided to say, like, look, no, we're sticking with what we believe in. And so if he has another project, I don't know, I'd be interested in looking at it. But then there's also what happened with Monero at the same time. As Zcash went down, Monero ended up going up. So maybe something's happening with that. We'll see.
Yeah, I think what it shows is that the privacy narrative is very much alive and well at the moment. So yeah, there were these, I think that what they called irreconcilable differences between board members over the strategic direction of Zcash. So basically the developers, I think the phrase I saw was rage quit. They basically rage quit from Electric Coin Company and then promptly went and started a new entity to continue their mission of building what they call unstoppable private money. And yeah, well, the impact of this was pretty clear in the charts. ZEC tanked on this news, as you would kind of expect. Yeah. But it did start to recover pretty quickly.
It did. And as a trader, I look at the charts, and you could tell a lot with just the price action on the charts. And the fact that the entire team essentially resigned and it didn't just go straight to zero tells you a lot. It tells you that this is very resilient, and there's definitely something behind the scenes here, which gives me some hope for ZEC, because I mean, how many other coins could have half their team or most of the team just resign and not just go to zero? You know, it fell, but it had a nice bounce, and it seems to be stabilizing right now. So it's looking pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens with Zcash. Obviously, yeah, as Lewis says, if a project can survive its whole dev team basically walking out and then promptly start to rebound, there must be quite a lot more to it than perhaps meets the eye. So yeah, it does look kind of positive for Zcash at the moment. And if you've looked at trending coins today, you'll see that Zcash is amongst them, Monero, and indeed a number of other privacy projects as well. And I think it was last week's stream that Nick and I were kind of discussing this as well. Privacy is almost certainly going to be a big narrative of 2026, and I mean, I was a little surprised. I didn't necessarily think that we would see big pumps for the likes of XMR and Zcash, because I sort of thought, well, we're more likely to see, big gains for kind of more sort of corporate-oriented crypto projects, because obviously I think a lot of the privacy narrative, a lot of the drive behind the privacy narrative is coming from institutions. They're the ones who really want it.
That brings me back to the point. Weren't there a lot of institutions or companies that were getting into Zcash lately? And that's probably probably where the riff happened because they had to make a decision.
Yeah. Yeah, but there was quite a lot of support for the Zcash devs who walked out. I think the Winklevoss twins, among others, voiced their support. So
yeah, I support them.
Yeah, so it looks like Zcash is down, but certainly not out. I think this is definitely one to watch as the privacy narrative unfolds over the rest of the year. Okay, now we are going to get some wonderful TA in a minute, but first of all, Lewis, I need to tell you about BitGet.
Okay.
I need to give a big thanks to BitGet, another of our brand partners. They have helped us run a portfolio competition, as you've noticed over the last few weeks. We brought that to an end last week, and I'm very pleased to announce that our winner, Colin, has been selected. So, Colin, yes, we're keeping you anonymous. Other than that, you will be receiving the balance of that portfolio very, very soon. So, keep a lookout. For the rest of you, yes, congratulations, Colin. For the rest of you, if you don't already have a BitGet account, then you are missing out. You can sign up now and be eligible for up to 50k USDT in bonus. Again, QR code, Lewis. There it is. Get scanning.
1 second.
Get scanning. You've already got one.
I already got one.
Okay, so
they did pretty well with that competition, right?
Well,
they started with 5K.
We started with 5K. We started with $5,000 USDT, and we basically every week our loyal viewers got to decide where we would allocate this to and what sort of percentage of the portfolio. For the last few weeks, they just insisted that we full port the whole lot into Bitcoin. Week after week.
It's been pretty smart.
Yeah.
Because I think you put full port into anything else,
we would have been in a lot of trouble. But yeah, we weren't quite at 5K when we closed out the competition, but not far below it.
Hey, that in crypto in this market, that's good.
That is pretty good. So well done to all our viewers who held our hand and shepherded us through that portfolio competition.
Yes.
Great work. Okay. It is that point in the show where we go to Lewis for some excellent TA. How are you going to manage this one, Lewis?
Well, I actually built a time machine. Okay. So
that's what you've been doing all afternoon.
That is what I've been doing this afternoon. So I'm gonna hop into the time machine and then I'll throw myself on the screen, do the TA, and then I'll jump back.
Okay, do it. Let's see.
And trends, he'll show the way. Lewis brings the TA today.
All right, thanks for the handoff, Lewis. I think I'll take it from here. In all seriousness, though, not much has changed, and I don't think a lot will change when it comes to my analysis until something crazy happens. And that's because if you look at Bitcoin, obviously we've just been in a downtrend pretty much since October, right? Since the first week of October, and now we're just moving sideways. And this is what I was thinking. I was thinking that, let's say we are in a bear market. Well, what always happens during bear markets? There are long periods of time that need to actually pass, and then there's usually a capitulation event. And of course, there are dead cat bounces along the way, but before the true bottom is actually hit, there is a lot of time, usually a year, maybe a little bit less, and there is a capitulation event. And we haven't had that yet. And personally, I do think that we are in a bear market, and we're only 27% off. We're not even 30% off of the highs right now. So because of that, and that's what I'm thinking, my bias is always going to be more bearish, at least for most of this year, unless something happens with the price. And so just looking realistically speaking, we've been range bound between 84,700 and 94,000 ever since November 22nd. And yes, it does look a little bit more bullish right now considering the fact that we created a higher high on the close, but I'm still not totally convinced. And even if we do come all the way up to 97,000 or even above that, I'm still not convinced that this is going to be the bottom and that's it. And now we're just going to go to new all-time highs. So I'm taking an extreme cautionary approach here. I'm not going to be buying anything right now because personally, I don't really like the way that this last candle is looking. And I don't really like the way that the markets are looking overall. What I'd much rather do is either look at some other markets and see if there's any opportunities there, or wait until something comes up where a lot of different things come together. The price looks really good, enough time has passed, and maybe there's some stories that are coming out and some narratives that could all be used within crypto to make some good trades. But personally, I just don't really see them right now. One of the only things I did see, actually was Zcash, which we're talking about, in the actual stream. But besides Zcash and maybe Monero, I don't know too many other things that I'm super, super confident about. So I'm going to continue to just wait it out until something really, really good happens or something really, really bad happens. And I see a trade setup that makes sense to me. Now, if you're a scalper, that's a totally different story, but I'm assuming that 99% of the people watching this aren't scalpers. And I want to make sure that if I'm going to suggest something, that I have a lot of confidence in it. And so with saying that, that's going to be my TA for today, and we'll just jump right back into the studio.
It's not an easy market to trade.
Yeah. I learned from 2022, you could try to trade certain markets, but you're so much better off just trading when everything aligns and it's easy. Otherwise, the probability of losing money is just too high. And why even do that? I mean, remember in 2019 when the market ended up crashing, but the crypto market crashed, but the weed stocks and a lot of the stock market went absolutely crazy. We should have rotated into those back then. So just like how most people, I think, should have rotated from crypto into gold and silver this time around. So I'm just gonna chill out, wait until something comes up, and then I'll be more comfortable going in.
Nothing wrong with chilling. I'll tell you what there is something wrong with, though, and that is the failure of people watching this stream to pound the like button sufficiently to get Nick well again. We're only at 20%. That means Nick is only vomiting 20% less than he was at the start of the stream. Come on, folks, hit that like button for Nick.
Somewhere right over here.
Yeah, it's somewhere down there. It's a big thumbs up. Smash it for Nick, folks. Poor old Nick. He needs all the help he can get, Okay, let's have a look at some of the tweets of the week. Okay.
Hey,
there's Lewis again. Hi, Lewis.
I actually also have a twin.
Good looking guy. Right. Let's start with this one. This is from Steve. To the guy who offered me over 1,000 ETH for this guy in 2021. I really think you should send me 50 ETH for saving you 950 ETH.
Honestly, if I was him, I'd probably send him an ETH just because of it. Yeah, why not?
Okay, so I presume it wasn't you who offered him.
It was not me who offered him 1,000 Ethereum for his golden Bored Ape, but it is golden, So at least gold is up, right? And
gold is up.
Maybe there's something. No.
Yeah, it's still a Bored Ape NFT, I'm afraid.
Unfortunate.
It's not the last bit of nostalgia we're going to be looking at in this tweets of the week selection, but. Yeah, I mean, wow. There were articles, people sort of explaining why they would never sell their ape.
I read the article that, I don't know if it was this guy, but it was whoever had, it was probably 1,000 Ethereum. I was like, you're so dumb.
What a time.
You are so dumb.
What a time to have been alive. Okay, next up, we have this one from Bernie Madoff. And Nikita Beer. If you haven't been keeping an eye on crypto Twitter over the last few days, you'll know that in amongst all the stuff about Powell and all the geopolitical stuff, Nikita Beer, who is head of product or something at X, has just become crypto Twitter's least popular person. He's basically people reckon that he's sort of has a hand in suppressing crypto content.
Yeah, and for good reason too. I mean, look at this. What he says over here. Basically, he's saying that you shouldn't be posting and you shouldn't be replying to people and communicating with people online. And this is crypto Twitter. Half of the audience of crypto Twitter is chronically online, living in their basement.
These are some of the most chronically online people in the world.
Yeah.
And he's basically telling them to engage less with the platform.
Yeah, basically get off our platform. What is it? What is he thinking?
Yeah, he actually posted a bit. The Ben Affleck having a cigarette meme.
Yeah.
He basically posted that. I think that's how tiresome all this got for him. But yeah, there's been some pretty unpleasant memes about Nikita Beer going around. But yeah, he is crypto Twitter's least popular person at the moment.
Yeah.
And this has resulted in a lot of kind of soul searching. And this tweet from Altcoin Psycho is also pretty good. Hot take, but crypto Twitter doesn't suck because of Nikita Beer. It sucked far before his time. We had a vaporware meme coin frenzy fueled by insiders, celebs, fake virality, and short-term attention games. Media built on grifts. No one cared because they were making money. That's when CT died.
You see, the last part of that is why it didn't suck. No one cared because they were making money, okay? But now that we're not making money, now it sucks, and it sucks even more.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you add into that, you've also got the likes of Ben Cowan. We haven't selected one of Ben's tweets this week, but Ben also tweeted a graph of crypto YouTube views, which are not doing well either. So there's a lot of soul searching going on in crypto media at the moment, folks. Meanwhile, we've also got this one, Grok, Grok's had a week. Grok was asked where it thinks we are in the cycle right now. Apparently, we're in disbelief.
Yeah. And
I'm in disbelief about some of the stuff that Grok has been up to recently.
I'm looking at this chart right here, the simplified market cycle at the top right. All right, put a bikini on that.
Oh my word! Grok. Oh my word! Move on. And here's our little bit of nostalgia. Here's some nice nostalgia to finish on. Dear Hal Finney, much missed. Running Bitcoin. This early tweet from Hal Finney about Bitcoin. Someone many people believe to be Satoshi, and as you see the date there, January the 11th. So that was yesterday, 2009, 15 years ago.
Wow, back when times were good.
17 years ago.
Before almost everyone. A little math.
Don't say it, Brett.
That's my
Don't
quant.
say it. This is the brains of the operation here. Oh, I knew I was getting. I should have just said all those years ago, shouldn't I? But I
don't worry. I don't think anyone even knew about Bitcoin back then. Any of us. So
no, Hal did though. Okay, some dates for the diary. On the 13th, which is tomorrow, we've got the CPI. And if you really like inflation data, then you'll want to hang around until the day after that, because then we'll have the PPI as well. Oh. And then on the 15th, the Clarity Act is going to be voted on in the Senate. So this Thursday.
Yes.
And now we alluded to this earlier, but the looming government shutdown, or the possibility of another government shutdown, is sort of injecting a bit of jeopardy into this. They kind of we need them to talk this through pretty quickly.
The people who want it are really trying to push it, just in case the government decides to say we don't want to work anymore.
Exactly.
What profession can you do that in? I don't like what I'm doing. I'm gonna go home and just not work. Shut it down.
Yeah, I mean, the American government, it's a source of constant delight and confusion.
And then they could just come back and just everyone still has their jobs and still gets paid.
Yeah.
And this is so backwards.
Well, I presume the people in the actual government get paid. A lot of federal employees don't get paid when they
it's just the people who are actually not doing work.
Yeah. Yeah, they're fine.
Even more backwards.
They're fine. Thank you very much. So yes, let's see. Progress on the Clarity Act that could be coming soon as well. So just before we close up, let's have a look at some of the comments. Lewis looks like a cross between Guy and Clark Kent.
I'll take it. Both two handsome people.
Yeah, I can see that.
If I go do something.
Yeah, you need the what's it called? The sort of cowlick thing going. There it is. Oh my word. Oh my word! Just if you see Lewis going into a phone box, you know what's about to happen. A lot of sympathy for Nick. Not enough sympathy to get us past 20%.
I know. Come on, guys.
You callous people.
What is this?
Poor Nick. He'll be back soon, though, returning as Thor, stronger and wiser. You can bet he will be. We've got someone else saying hello from South Africa. Lewis is the Elvis of crypto.
That was my nickname at a summer camp.
Really?
It was Elvis. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's fantastic. Fantastic. I can see it. Clark Kent, Elvis, keep them coming. I'm gonna leave the last comment. There's another question. The Dreadbug says, will Lewis be doing his live stream again Friday?
Well, yeah. I mean, we have our whole new show. So
we do have our whole new show
with the Jamaican theme.
We're talking about maybe doing it once every fortnight. But if you guys really want it, then perhaps we can make it a bit more. Then smash the like button.
Smash the like,
You're not smashing the like button for Nick, so smash the like button if you want to see more of our Friday live stream as well.
Fraud and FOMO.
Now, Stephen Warden, 2474, wins the show today. Talking about Nick not turning up because he's unwell is a bit shellfish.
What a dad joke.
Brilliant. I love it.
Absolutely.
Stephen, you're hired. Get yourself over to Dubai. We'll find a job for you. You can just be head of BANTS. How about that? Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. Please join me, everyone, in wishing Nick all the best for his recovery from that nasty bout of food poisoning that he's got. I'm sure he'll be back. You can't keep a good man down. But Lewis, thank you so much for filling in today. It's been great.
No, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Who needs that Nick anyway? He's overrated. I mean, we're fed up with him. Sorry, Nick. Sorry, Nick.
He's a good guy, but I mean,
he's a good guy.
Who gets food poisoning?
He knows
It's
I know.
sort of lame.
Who goes and eats oysters?
I know.
I mean, in a bear market?
In a bear market? Yeah. What do you need extra zinc or something?
I know. You should just take supplements. All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll be back next week. Who knows? Maybe, there he is. Pray for him. But thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Happy birthday to both of you. Nick and Guy have the same birthday. Happy birthday, Guy. Hope it's a good one. Happy birthday, Guy. Happy birthday, Guy. Have a good one. Looking forward to your birthday next Monday, Guy. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday. Have a nice one, Guy. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, man. Have a nice one, Guy.
Nick, you're back.
Bro, I'm telling you, don't go near the shellfish, man. Oh, it's so bad. I feel